Thank you. Please be seated. Good morning, everybody, and it is with great pleasure that I welcome you to the first part of Royal College Day 2023, or our annual general meeting and council meeting. Along with all of you with us in person today, we also have some people who will be joining us remotely, so I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to them as well. Royal College Day is a very special event in the RCVS calendar, and one which encompasses both formal business and a celebration of superb achievement. During our annual general meeting and council meeting, we will present our annual report and financial statement for 2022, welcome new members of both RCVS Council and Veterinary Nurses Council, and bid farewell and thank you to those whose service on our council draws to a close today. Today is also the last day of my presidential year, and while I am sad my time in this wonderful role has come to an end, I will, of course, be pleased to hand over the chain of office to my close colleague, Sue Patterson, later in the proceedings. And any watering of my eyes is my thyroid eye disease and nothing to do with emotion whatsoever. The second half of Royal College Day will begin after lunch, when I shall be delighted to present the college's honours and awards to a host of very worthy recipients, and we will hear from our guest speaker, Doris Ann Williams. But for now, I will ask our Registrar, Eleanor Ferguson, to start the 180th Annual General Meeting of the Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons.
Thank you, President, and good morning, everyone. I can confirm that the notice of the annual general meeting appeared in the edition of the Vet Record published on 3rd June 2023.
In previous years, this would be the moment where I would have had the pleasure of reading out the traditional message from our then patron, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. As we said after she sadly passed away in September last year, the Queen had been our loyal patron and benefactor since 1952, and as an animal lover, had been a steadfast supporter of the college and the veterinary professions over the course of her long reign. I had the great honour of attending her state funeral on behalf of the RCVS and the veterinary professions, and while obviously a very sad occasion, it was also a wonderful opportunity to celebrate an extraordinary life of public service. However, I would also like to take this opportunity to reiterate our warmest congratulations and good wishes to Their Majesties King Charles III and Queen Camilla on the occasion of their coronation earlier this year.
The minutes of the annual general meeting held on 8th July last year have been made available online, and printed copies are available today. May I ask for an indication that the minutes of the last meeting are approved? Thank you. Thank you. Those meetings are approved, so we will proceed to the agenda for today's meeting.
We now come to the consideration of the annual report and financial statements for the year ending 31st of December 2022. It is available online via the RCVS website, and there are hard copies available to you today, and I formally present the RCVS annual report and financial statement. At this point, we consider questions on the annual report and financial statement 2022 that we have received in writing from veterinary surgeons and veterinary nurses by our published deadline of 5 p.m. on Tuesday, 4th of July, 2023. We received no written questions by that deadline, so if no one has questions now, we will proceed to the next item. Thank you.
Thank you, President. We now turn to the results of the 2023 RCVS Council election. This year, the turnout for RCVS Council was 6,087 veterinary surgeons, or 16.7% of those eligible to vote. I hereby declare the following three people to be elected members of RCVS Council. Dr. Alice McLeish, 3,465 votes. Linda Belton, 2,725, and Tim Hutchinson, 1,571.
Linda is a current member of council and so has been re-elected for a further 4-year term. Alice and Tim are new members and so are formally welcome to Council for their 4-year terms today. My congratulations to you all.
Those not elected at this time are Professor David Barrett, Professor Chris Proudman, Dr. Martin Chamberlain, Dr. Peter Robinson, Steve Howard, James Gartside, and Daniel Doherty.
We will be saying our formal goodbyes to those members who are retiring from Council today in due course. Meanwhile, I would like to take the opportunity to formally welcome all our new members to our RCVS Council. These include not only our elected members, Alice and Tim, but also to our new Vet School Council's appointed member, Matthew Jones, who was unfortunately not able to make it here today. Alice, followed by Tim, please join me on stage individually so that I can welcome you to Council.
Turning to our retiring council members, we would now like to say a few words about each before inviting those present to the stage so we can formally thank them for their contributions. First is Chris Proudman, one of our Vet Schools Council appointees.
Chris was nominated onto Council as a representative of the University of Surrey Vet School for 5 months from March 2020 and has latterly been a Vet School Council appointee. As head of Surrey Vet School, Chris already had an amazing achievement under his belt, having led the institution from its foundation to its full accreditation with the RCVS and the graduation of its first cohort of students who joined the register as members of the RCVS. Whilst on Council, Chris's experience at Surrey has been brought to bear, with him serving on the Education Committee and the CERT AVP Committee, where he has brought his expertise and knowledge to good use. As a member of the committee and the subcommittee, he has always contributed to discussions in a collegiate manner, provided constructive insight and a genuine desire to advance veterinary education. Chris, I would like to invite you onto stage to accept a small gift as a token of our thanks.
Next today, we say farewell and thank you to Dr. Joanna Dyer.
Again, the full list of Jo's many appointments can be found in the programme, but I wanted to highlight a few key aspects of her time at the college. Jo was first elected to Council in 2015, serving a total of 8 years. Jo joined RCVS Council with a particular interest in 24/7 emergency care, a subject which, amongst others, has remained close to her heart throughout her time on Council. Challenge, scrutiny, and the exchange of different opinions amongst Council members are a necessary and welcome part of our governance process, as it makes for better and more considered decisions. As a Council member, Jo has been a key part of this constructive criticism process, and the decisions Council has made on issues such as our undercare guidance have been all the better for it. As one of a number of vets on Council from a general practice background, Jo has brought an excellent primary care perspective to a number of issues that have a direct impact on vets in clinical practice, including through her membership of various committees, not least the Standards Committee. Jo, thank you so much for all your hard work, commitment and service on Council, and I would like to invite you onto stage to accept a small gift as a token of our appreciation.
Finally, from RCVS Council, we are also saying goodbye to our Treasurer, Dr. Neil Connell, who leaves both the officer team and RCVS Council today. Sadly for us, Neil can't be with us today, although he has a rather good excuse. He's being admitted to the honorary degree of Doctor of Veterinary Medicine and Surgery by the University of Edinburgh in recognition of his championing of equality and diversity and acting as a strong, positive role model. Although we formally thanked Neil at our recent council meeting and presented him with a framed print of his favourite Belgravia house oil painting, Melissa would just like to say a few words today about his 10 years of service.
Thank you very much, Eleanor. Now, for the benefit of those not at June Council, and for Neil if he's watching on either online now or on demand later, I just wanted to say a huge thank you for all you've done during your decade on RCVS Council. Along with Mandisa Green, Neil led us during some of the toughest months of the pandemic and did so with kindness, empathy, and that ever-present and disarming sense of humour he deploys so well. As someone from a working-class background, Neil has made equality, diversity and inclusion and widening access to less represented ethnic, religious and socio-economic groups one of the hallmarks of his time on council and the presidential team. He was the inaugural chair of the Diversity and Inclusion Group, which in early 2021 launched our Diversity and Inclusion Strategy, a fantastic document detailing how the college will work with partners in the veterinary sector on areas such as recruitment to veterinary education and profession retention support for those from diverse backgrounds and culture change. Lots of important work has grown out of his strategy, such as the recent survey on disability and chronic illness in the professions. Neil has also never shied away from talking about his multiple sclerosis and how, although it meant he could not continue with his clinical career, it gave him a new lease of life through involvement in veterinary politics and education. Neil, we are also very thankful you found this renewed purpose, and you will be greatly missed by all of us on the RCVS Council, VN Council, and the whole RCVS team.
Turning now to the Veterinary Nurses Council election results, I'm pleased to be joined by VN Council Chair Matthew Rendell.
Thank you, Eleanor, and good morning, everyone.
This year, VN Council had 5 candidates standing for 2 elected places. We had a turnout of just over 8.8%, with 1,927 veterinary nurses casting their vote. So I hereby declare the following to be elected or re-elected to VN Council for 3-year terms. Matthew Rendell, 891 votes, and Simon Williams, 642 votes. Those not elected to VN Council this time were Sarah Batt-Williams, Catherine Mortimer and Heather Kirkness. I'd also like to note that Sarah Fox and Stephanie Richardson have also been reappointed to VN Council as lay members.
In a moment, we will pay tribute to our retiring members this year. But first, I would like to invite Simon to the stage to be formally welcomed to the VN Council.
Turning now to this year's retirements from VN Council, our first retiree today is Claire Roberts.
Claire has served 3 years as an elected member of VN Council, throughout which she has represented VN Council on the Standards Committee, and Claire has also been a valued member of the CP Policy and Compliance Subcommittee, and has helped considerably to promoting the CPD to fellow veterinary nurses, as well as the importance of reflective learning in the CPD webinars. Claire, I would like to invite you to the stage to accept a small token of our gratitude and thanks.
Sadly, Claire's not here today, but thank you for that one. These things happen. We're also saying farewell today to Dominic Dyer.
We thank Dominic for his 10 years of service as a lay member of VN Council, during which time he has brought to the table and to our various discussions his invaluable experience as an animal rights campaigner, public advisor and charity worker. He has been extremely supportive to me and to everybody on VN Council, spreading the word of the value of veterinary nursing in all sorts of sectors and the important part that we play in animal health and welfare. Thank you very much for your contribution, Dominic. Please come to the stage and we'd like to give you a token of our thanks.
Once again, I think the communications button has not been pressed in that. Thank you, Matthew. That therefore concludes the business of the annual general meeting. The next annual general meeting will be held on Friday, the 5th of July, at the Royal Institute of British Architects in London. So I would now like to announce a short meeting of RCVS Council to confirm the appointment of the new President, Vice Presidents and Treasurer.
The first item on the agenda is apologies for absence, which I have received from Louise Allen, Linda Belton, Neil Connell, Christine Middlemiss, Timothy Parkin, Will Wilkinson and Judith Worthington. Secondly, declarations of interest. Does anyone need to make any declarations of interest that are irrelevant to today's agenda? We now move to matters for decision by Council.
Thank you. I would ask Council to approve the appointment of the Presidential Team and Treasurer for 2023-24. President, Dr. Sue Patterson. Senior Vice President, Dr. Melissa Donald. Junior Vice President, Linda Belton. Treasurer, Sheedy Gardner. Can I please ask Council to confirm the new Presidential Team? Thank you. And huge congratulations to our new Presidential Team, and we'll be hearing more from Melissa and Sue a little later today. The date of the next meeting is public meeting of Council will take place on Thursday, the 7th of September at 10 o'clock. And that brings us to a close of this very short meeting of Council. So I would like now to hand over and invite our CEO, Lizzie Lockett, to deliver her address. Thank you.
Eleanor was supposed to say Mel and Sue there, but she jibbed out. But we have recognised that we've got our very own Mel and Sue on the team now. So good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome to RCVS Day, our annual general meeting and awards ceremony. This, the first Friday in July, marks the turning point of the RCVS year. It's like New Year's Day, but without the fireworks, although one never quite knows how those AGM Q&A sessions are going to pan out. And in common with New Year, it's a time for both reflection and looking forward. So, reflecting on the last 12 months, how do we feel? It's been a difficult year in so many ways, with the wars in Ukraine and Sudan, and energy and cost of living crises. We lost our patron, Her Majesty the Queen, a keen loss that was felt the world over. And there's also been more than just a little political upheaval this year. We've had our own upheavals too. But as someone once said, without ups and downs, we would be flatlining, and that is not compatible with life. Yet, against this backdrop, the team at the college have achieved a huge amount, and I would like to take just a moment to reflect on some of these fabulous milestones. The RCVS Academy celebrated its first birthday a couple of weeks ago. This online learning portal now offers a great range of short courses and bite-sized modules to help vets and nurses meet the standards expected of them. We've welcomed over 8,300 unique learners, with a total of over 10,500 individual course enrolments in just this first 12 months. If you've not logged on yet, please do so. And the Academy is a manifestation of our strong aim and desire to support veterinary professionals to succeed, and it's part of our compassion work stream in our strategy. Meanwhile, members of our new Charter Case Committee have been recruited, trained, and are ready to go. This is the committee that will look at complaints that could meet the threshold for serious professional misconduct, but at the lower end, where the preliminary investigation committee feels it would be more compassionate not to take the individual through a full, formal and public disciplinary hearing. It's a great example of how, with a combination of our charter and our statutory powers, we try our best to be a modern, forward-thinking and compassionate regulator, despite the age of our legislation. The Veterinary Surgeons Act 1966. Well, I hesitate to say it's ancient, as I'm not a million miles away from that age myself, and neither are some of you, but it's surely no longer fit for purpose. We spent a lot of time this year lobbying for change to the Act to allow us to better regulate the professions, the wider vet-led team, and the places that they work in a way that is sustainable. It's a complex process, and we are in the hands of DEFRA and government, but we continue to push our case and are very grateful to the BVA for the support that they've also given us. And talking of sustainability, this year we launched our Practice Standards Sustainability Award, and I'm delighted that we recently made our first award to Paragon Vets. We know that sustainability in all its forms, environmental, societal and financial, is close to the hearts of so many in the professions, and it is to us too. So it's no surprise that sustainability is key in our refurbishment work at our new building at Hardwicke Street. Our final set of tenants will vacate that building shortly, and the refurbishment work will start in earnest this autumn. We hope to be in situ sometime in the first half of next year. It's been a really interesting project so far, as it's given us pause to consider how we work in this post-pandemic world, or should I say post this pandemic, as no doubt there will be more. So, with apologies to Dolly Parton, long gone are the days of clocking in at 9 and leaving at 5. Long gone are the rows of desks. Long gone are the individuals putting on restrictive clothes, enduring a lengthy commute and working on their own in an office building. Now, many people do their working alone at home and come into the office to work together. Collaboration, coaching, creativity, connection. These are the motivations now for time spent in the office, and it's been a lovely process to watch, actually. In fact, I am tempted to have an in-office message on my emails, apologising for delays to responding, rather than an out-of-office message, as it's the days when I'm in the office that I spend time collaborating and I'm a little slow getting back to my emails. But although the world of work remains in flux, the pattern is likely to continue and will be reflected in the space and the facilities that we have at Hardwicke Street, not only for our staff team, but also our members, the public and events. And we look forward to welcoming many of you there before this time next year. We published our Workforce Action Plan in the autumn of last year and have been working through that this year. Early in autumn, we're due to have the results of a workforce modelling exercise that will help us to better understand the future supply and demand issues too. And we've been focusing on some specific areas, including the pipeline of public health vets, working with government and relevant agencies, and also clinical career pathways with a particular focus on general practice, the backbone of the profession. We held an event towards the end of 2022 and produced a report, and we will be keeping you updated on our progress. One of our more controversial activities this year was the culmination of many years' work, which was our new undercare and out-of-hours guidance, which will come into force in September. We believe this guidance represents a sensible approach that balances professional judgment with some principles-based checks and balances that should ensure that those who wish to embrace technology can do so safely. We've published case studies to support this guidance for practitioners, and we'll give more detailed information via our webinars. We will also be keeping the impact of any change under review. We also now have a protocol to support private prosecutions under the Veterinary Surgeons Act, which is yet one more way in which we are supporting the high standards of animal health and welfare, of which the UK can rightly be proud. Our year ahead kicks off the last 18 months of our strategy plan, so towards the end of this presidential year, we'll be considering the shape of a new plan. Like the sunset, we often do our best work just before a deadline. So I'm expecting continued great things from the team over the next year as our current plan draws to a close. There are still many things to complete within the existing plan, and focal points for the year ahead include progress on our EMS database and a review of how we regulate new technology. Our public advisory group will start to meet in the autumn, and I look forward to working with them to ensure the essential voice of animal owners and keepers is heard in our work. So finally, I would like to conclude with a few thank yous. Our senior team, many of whom are here today, continue to deliver with competence, assurance, and, as ever, good humour. I often joke that I wish they were just a little bit less competent, so occasionally I could get an easier thing to do. But no, it's only the really tricky problems that get escalated to me, as everything else is handled just perfectly. And one person who's been an honorary member of our senior team is leaving us at the end of the month. So Chris Gash, Executive Director of our partner charity, RCVS Knowledge, I would just like to say a huge thank you for all of the amazing things that you have achieved with the charity over the last few years, making it the go-to place for veterinary quality improvement and evidence-based medicine. Thank you, and good luck in your new role. I would like to thank the officer team for their wise counsel and support. Excuse me, I'm very sorry that Neil is not here today for his last ever RCVS day. He has had such an amazing tour of duty on council as president, then treasurer, and been a real tower of strength to all of us. And also thank you to Melissa, who's been a fabulous president, down to earth, totally committed to the college, and impressively full of energy, as always. She is our outgoing president in every sense of that word. And thank you to all of our stakeholders, and great to see so many of you here today. You support us to work in an informed way, which is really vital. And finally, thank you to our council for the huge amount of detailed work that you deliver year in, year out, much of which is not seen by the professions. And thank you to all of you for being here today. Here's to a firm resolution to make this new year, the college new year at least, a fabulous one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lizzie. And with that, we will now take a short break for lunch in the Great Hall just next door. So please make sure to be seated again here by 1 p.m. for our honours and awards ceremony, where we will be joined by our award recipients and their guests.